You there, Purdue fan. Where are you from?
Terre Haute. I'm from Terre Haute. Why?
A Hoosier's last thoughts should be of home.
My God. You're Larry Bird. Where are they taking us?
Hey, everybody. This is Beau.
Hi, I'm Don. And I guess we're going to try this whole thing again.
This is a Donaron podcast, and this is another tribute, actually. We're
Yeah.
doing a lot of things because Adam can't keep them good when we record them.
Okay, so this one is for Skyrim. This is kind of a culmination of a journey we've been on for a while.
Right? Because we started with Oblivion, the second best game.
Yeah, and then we went to Morrowind.
Indisputably the best game.
Yeah.
And now we're on Skyrim, which
It's like the specter that's been haunting us this whole time. The
there's a
specter
haunting Don.
of not communism. Skyrim, yeah.
In Skyrim, I want to start off this podcast because we're not gonna touch on this particular thing yet, but I want to start this off saying Skyrim is a fantastic game.
It's a fun game.
It is so much fun. It's a gorgeous game.
It would not be as infuriating if it weren't.
This
would there are some games that are immeasurably improved by being terrible in every way.
So I want to start off saying Skyrim's a great game.
Yes.
It is as successful as it is for a reason.
I will not contest that.
I play it still. I do play it still. Having said all that, knowing what I know, coming from where I came from, going into Skyrim, I fucking hate Skyrim.
It's the best way to describe it in terms of our relationship with it today. It is a bad relationship that we forgot why we left.
Oh God!
It's going we had some fun times back in college. What's she up to right now?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
You know what? I think I know where I know where she hangs out. I'll go see her.
Right? Oh
Like,
my
you
God,
know,
that's so good.
I'll bring a 6-pack. Well, I'll bring a six. I'll bring a 6-pack. Well, I'll go head out to where where I know she hangs out, and we'll just have fun. I remember us doing some crazy things. I have so many good memories. Why did we ever cut it off?
And you leave with the 6-pack before your friends are able to remind you why you broke up.
Why we broke up.
And you get 50 hours into a new game, and you're like, "Fuck Skyrim."
Anyway, I embarked down this dark path. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this cave is the last place I remember seeing her. She was so unique. Her model was so unique. She had good voice acting. I wonder why I just stopped hanging out with her. And then I walk in, there's some guy with a sword. You must partake of her blood. Oh, I remember why I stopped. You never moved on, did you?
So Skyrim is a game where the quest writers for Skyrim should have wrote the first part of every quest for every video game ever because they entice you so well.
Yes.
These quests are so good when you first get them. And then as you complete them, it's like the guy was like, fuck it. Like, just fuck it. There's a troll. It's Skyrim. Just throw a troll in there.
Have you ever gotten like a pack of 90 bottle rockets and they all go up really cool and then they immediately take a lateral turn into a field and explode?
And sometimes they don't even pop.
Or they just fizzle?
Yeah. Yep. That's Skyrim. And so, having said this, again, full disclaimer, I've bought Skyrim 4 different times to have it on various platforms throughout its 9 years.
Yeah.
9 years.
Let's talk about the highlights of Skyrim. You'll be walking along a path and a bunny will run out in front of you and a man with an axe will be chasing it saying, "This is what I'm trained for." Undisputably worth the price of admission.
The parts where the game breaks make it worth it.
A dragon will accidentally be flying upside down, break a wing, and then like teleport into space, and the game will be unplayable.
Oh, the Randy Savage mod.
Yeah.
The mods are the Randy Savage. I remember the first time because I didn't realize it would even change Alduin. So like they kick me down on the block and you just hear, "Oh, yeah," like over the distance, and Tully's like, "What is that? What in Oblivion is that?" And Randy Savage lands on this tower.
Could the legend be true?
Legends don't burn down villages. Now, in Skyrim, it had so many characters that could have been so memorable and so legendary, and they're just so like it's like the way South Park represents a current cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
like that's what Skyrim
Like
is.
if I feel like it. You know how South Park did a lot of jokes that were funny when you weren't thinking, and now you're thinking, okay, those jokes aren't really that funny, so they had to redo half their episodes, like Man Bear Pig, to say, okay, by the way, Man Bear Pig does in fact exist.
Oh yeah, they
Like, and all those jokes we made, yeah, they weren't actually that funny. Here's an apology, basically.
Like the
we
first-
need a
yeah.
Skyrim apology where we have the second part to all the quests that we started in Skyrim.
and none of the DLC did that.
No.
Even you go back to Vardenfell, and it's still not Vardenfell, but Solstheim.
Yeah, well, Neloth is still there.
Right.
In Solstheim. And he is great because he gives you tentacle eyes, and he's like, oh, that was interesting. Which is all I really wanted from that DLC, I'm not going to lie.
But the Dragonborn DLC fucking sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
God, that sucks.
they had like it was such a Skyrim DLC because they had a good setup. Hey, this is a guy with a personal relationship to me. I think maybe I bet he has interesting backstory. And, well, we're not gonna. Guess not.
Nope. No
Guess
Dagather here. Turn back.
No.
Turn back.
No.
So, I'm actually looking at the shelf of the games over here, and I think Asteroid 64 has more depth than fucking Skyrim.
Asteroid 64 starts out with you just being a miner who shoots asteroids, and then you get sent to a region of space controlled by aliens, and you start a war by accident. So yes, it is in fact more complex than Skyrim. Now, that's not to say that Skyrim doesn't have a lot going for it. I really loved beginning the intro to Skyrim because I liked the backstory to it.
Oh yeah,
Like you find out the Empire's in a bit of a shambles now. Well, a lot of its territories are
they
broken
address
away.
the fact that it's no longer the Dragonborn line and it's just a political.
Yeah.
and all the problems that come with it just being a political. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, like the war that the war that happened in the backstory where the Empire gets broken down, whittled away. The Thalmor took credit for solving the Oblivion Crisis in the Altmer lands.
Right.
And they said, like, if we just get rid of all the dirty non-high elves, everything will be great. And look, we've got low unemployment. No wage growth, but low unemployment. Anyone who disagrees with us is now, dead. So, and then they've got all those cool Gestapo outfits they're running around with, and they're reaching out to all the people who have legitimate grievances with the Empire. But if you make it's like you're Lithuania saying, I bet the Nazis, they'd be good allies. Or Poland saying, I bet if we teamed up and gobbled up Czechoslovakia, nothing bad would happen to us eventually. It's the Khajiit and the Argonians. I understand where you're coming from, but pick your allies a little bit better.
Oh yeah, so there's so much of this good stuff leading to Thalmor to be. By the way, the Thalmor are created to be excellent villains.
They are.
Nothing you can do about them.
Nope.
Nothing.
I actually like the Thalmor. They are compelling villains. They are believable villains. They have real world analogs, but they're in a fantasy setting. It's understandable how they came to power. There's a really cool book. There's not that many cool books in the game, but there are some.
Which is
new ones.
disappointing because Oblivion and Morrowind had amazing.
Yeah.
Probably the best part of
It's
those games.
basically a high elf political refugee who is warning the Empire of the growing threat.
Which book is that?
It's basically I don't know. It's a 3-part series, but it's basically just some guy's testament saying it starts out with his remembrances of the Oblivion Crisis, complete with the fall of the Crystal City to the demons.
Because the Altmer could remember because they lived so long. Yeah.
And he's basically saying, and then the Thalmor show up, and they start out just by doing like some charities, only for high elves, only for specific high elves, but they do charities, so they're obviously good people.
Kind of the Sons of the Confederacy or something. Kind of that.
How can you say the Sons of the Confederacy is racist when they help white children?
Right. So there's this cool villain set up,
and they have this idea where technically they're helping liberate the Khajiit and the Argonians, but they're also carving up ethno-states, and they're saying that Khajiit belong in elsewhere, and you should not be anywhere else.
It's not that we hate the Khajiit.
They just need to be in their place.
Elsewhere is their home. Yeah. Why would they want to be elsewhere?
Send them back to elsewhere. Ring that bell, jump for joy. Khajiit's day is here. I'm not going to finish that song. That's a terrible song. I'm sorry. We hear it in Indiana though.
That's a horrible song, but
It's a horrible song. We're not. Don't look it up.
Do not.
I don't think I gave you enough hints. But yeah, it's Khajiit belong wherever the hell they want to go, and they should be let into Windhelm.
Right, exactly. So there's this great villain setup. Nothing
No,
you can do about them.
It's not the main focus of the story when it obviously should be.
Right, and it's so anyway, in the game, my biggest gripe with the game, Morrowind touted itself as a live another life.
Yeah.
And the game starts off, it says, hey, you know what? Go see Caius Casades or don't. There was a good reason the Empire didn't fucking care if you did.
Yeah.
Releasing you was a political move that they had to do to appease a certain person, and they did it, and it was done, and they're like, but we really can't make you go see Caius Casades. So, and then Oblivion, find Joffrey. Hey, there's several good reasons why you can't immediately, though. It's more pressing, but not as pressing. Whereas Skyrim, it's like, get away now, get to Whiterun, get over there now. Why would you do anything else? It's
Oblivion
horrible.
It's encouraging you to keep a low profile for a while.
Yes, he's like, hey,
We have no idea what the hell's going
hey,
on.
the Emperor just died. This is his necklace. People are gonna ask questions, dude. Lay low. But like with White, it's like the dragon's going there now. Everyone's gonna die. It's just like Fallout 4. Fallout 4, you watch your wife and kid get shot in the head, and then the minute you get out of the vault, they're like, hey, you look busy, buddy. You look worried about something. You were crying when you looked at that teddy bear in that house, but we're building a town.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any fucking sense why you would build that town.
You got any hard hats? I need to. Every time I tried to busy myself with work, I'd remember that I'm a terrible father.
Todd Howard, I don't know where he got off thinking that these are narrative-driven games. These are make a stupid fucking character and do whatever the fuck you want games, and I'll get to that when I'm good and goddamn ready.
Just make the ending worth it, and maybe we won't try so hard to avoid it.
Right, exactly. Like Dagoth Ur is one of the best showdowns in video game history because there's so much it's so beautiful. In Alduin, there's nothing there.
Like what? Who is he to me?
Who
The force
is
of nature.
Alduin? Like he's literally just like it's
I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, Alduin is nothing more than a wolf. He's somebody who wants to kill you, and if given enough power, would kill everyone.
Right, like,
and that's not interesting at all.
They tried with Parthenox.
The closest they came is like, hey, maybe him killing everything is good. You know, Parthenax, maybe not. Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess I will help you.
And the Longbeards could have been so cool. Or the Greybeard. Is it long or gray?
I don't know. They're old mystic Nords.
I think it's gray because I think Longbeards is the dwarf thing from Warhammer.
Yeah.
Fantasy.
That could have been cool. It's a nice big thing they've got there. It's not very well populated. Yeah.
Climbing High Hrothgar might have been the only memorable thing
good
in the game.
Because
up.
There wasn't just like some icon telling you exactly how to get up. Go every step of the way.
Right.
It's like, hey, it's a mountain, get up there.
That was the first troll I encountered. Was on the way up High Hrothgar. It's a fascinating. It was the only part of the game that I walked away from and I was like, I remember doing that. That's the only single part. Period.
It's so it starts out. It starts out strong. It's memorable. Like even the dragons, right off the bat, I wasn't angry that the dragons were there. As long as they worked with the story. So the dragon sets you, like, you're being taken away from execution. And yeah, I do have at least some issue. Like, if you're an Argonian and you've been caught with a white supremacist camp, like, it's like Sherman walking into a plantation and he sees all the slaves in the fields with scythes. Like, my God, Confederates everywhere, open fire. Like, dude,
it is. It's stupid. Why would they think that this Argonian was a member of the?
Now, I'm not
or
saying.
if you're even dark elf, by God.
Yeah.
Like,
now, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's impossible. There's always going to be minorities who stick up for an oppressive system because they feel that if they do so, they will be rewarded. And there's a practical reason for
there's
that.
A historical precedent.
There's
for that.
like there always is. There were Jewish camp guards in Auschwitz for a reason, because, you know, maybe if I have this authority, I can protect myself and maybe some other people that I care about.
Right.
There's a reason people would do that, even if it is objectively the wrong thing to do. There are dark elves who would,
why, you know, who could say what you would do?
Like in Fallout New Vegas, the not the worst thing, but the thing that makes the least sense is a woman supporting Caesar. And even then, how many women who are married to powerful men in oppressive systems would forego the chance of a better system so long as she gets to keep her status?
Oh, there's The Handmaid's Tale has several good.
It's just that.
stories about that. Yeah. So yeah,
So it's not impossible. It's not.
Right.
It's not game breaking. It's just kind of stupid that the Empire
they don't
would assume.
acknowledge it. Because even Hadvar doesn't. He's just like, where are you from? Who are you? And he's like, Argonian, huh? We'll have your things. You know what? Whatever, man. We didn't really think about this.
Yeah, it's ham-fisted, but I know it's supposed to do. I know the Empire is so objectively the best choice that they have to give you at least some conflict.
It's like when when you go to join the Stormcloaks as an Argonian Khajiit or a Dark Elf. It's the same dialogue as if you were anything else.
Yeah.
And if you're a Nord, there's not like a brother Nord joined the true fight. No, you're still an out. That's one thing I've never liked about Skyrim. No matter what you do, Elder Scrolls period, actually. It's a commentary on the whole series. No matter what you do, you can never be from the region it takes place in.
Yeah.
Even if you're Cyrodiilic, they're like in Oblivion, they're like, Outlander, huh? You must not understand our strange ways. Like, and it's the most vanilla ass fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. But so anyway, you're about to get your head cut off, and who would have guessed?
Oh,
right when that happens.
The dragons, the legends were true.
And the first part of the game, like this mini dungeon, it does a very good job of telling you the Stormcloaks are right, and you haven't seen any of the racism yet.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of a neat thing they put in there. Like, yeah, you're one of us, man. It's all good. You're not one of those people.
Well,
you know what I mean?
He's not specifically saying anything racist with that. He coughed. I think you will find that he coughed. Therefore, you're actually the racist.
Who was
here.
that guy in 2012? That Republican who he literally started
Bleh, Santorum. Not like them bleh people.
racist motherfucker.
Hey, I think you will find that his grandpa had big, strong hands. I remember looking at him in the open casket. I saw the coal miner's big, strong hands.
Fucking guy.
He could have wielded a claymore.
Was he done after 2012? What's he doing now?
I think he's probably. Look, if you get your name associated with the certain discharges associated with certain activities,
I wonder if that's
you
still
should probably
true.
drop off the face of the earth and hope people forget. We haven't forgotten. Anyway, okay, you escape the dragon.
You get out of Helgen, and the game is like, absolutely do this. Don't do anything else.
Yeah.
There's this cool world to explore.
Hey,
don't fucking do it.
Excuse me. There's a mine here. Yeah, well, we're going this way. There's a mine.
Those mines, the quests are literally you go to the Jarl of each hold, and they say, clear out this mine. There's bandits in it.
I did that like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, well, they repopulated.
Stupid.
There's also a book in that chest now.
It doesn't have anything to do with the miners that were there.
Yeah.
But the bandits.
There's a book. There's another relic. I like Radiant quests, but it gets repetitive.
And they're so gorgeously designed.
Yeah.
They're visually pleasing as fuck. There's waterfalls. There's stone bridges. It's so like, and it's like the guys that like the graphic designers were working 24 hours a day, and the writers were just like, "Hey man, did you finish that Skyrim quest yet?" Nah, man. I figure I'll do it on Tuesday. Right.
I mean, we got a good
time.
set piece for him. Like, there's a lot of cool story like background. Like, this is obviously like a way station for prisoners of some kind. What's using them? Bandits. Bandits. That's it. Yeah, bandits.
Like in Morrowind, every single cave, every single tomb, there was a story.
Smuggler's Alcove. Yeah.
There was a story. In even Oblivion, there was kind of a story to almost everything. In Skyrim, there's just so much. We talked about the Markarth.
Yeah, Markarth.
There's like an ethnic group there.
Yeah, really. I was so. Oh my god! I cannot express in words how pumped I was.
The people of the Reach.
That there were people other than Nords living in Skyrim with their own history, their own culture, loosely related to Bretons. Which, hey, I can role play this. I could be sympathetic.
You're
to
always
these
a
people.
Breton, aren't you?
Yeah. Like, okay, they're a little bit more magical than these, but they have an interesting, distinct cultural group, different religion, different faith, and they have cool bone swords.
And they're more black metal Viking.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like the Nords are like power metal Viking, you know, like these
And-
guys are the ones that eat hearts and they have antlers. They use antlers in all their decorating.
And Markarth is where they're originally from, and they briefly controlled it. And apparently, you know, most of the people who lived in Markarth were like, yeah, though they're not Nords. That's really my only real complaint. And then the Empire said, yeah, we'll deal with you as a legitimate ruler of the Reach until Ulfric Stormcloak storms it, butchers them all, and kicks them back out into the wilds. But they're still sympathizers within, and they're not all in rags. Like the sympathizers are well adorned, very well read, and well cultured.
They built it as a real resistance with real historical analogs, and it's
Multiple
so
classes, multiple.
cool. Like that quest is actually.
It's such a good start.
Yes, it's such a good start. In Morrowind, that would have been a 20-hour fucking quest line.
Yeah, but in this, you're just investigating a murder, and then somebody shows like, "Hey, you're investigating this murder, aren't you? You're under arrest." So you get sent to the mines, and you meet a really cool concept for a character, a king in rags, who is writing propaganda in a special office in the mine. And
It's a prison.
yeah,
He's a
prison mine.
prisoner,
He can't,
but
no one has
he-
ever escaped, but for some reason he's getting letters out.
And God, it's such a good start.
Because the people who are running this mine are using him as a fear campaign. They're basically using terrorism as a political tool. And they think that as long as
It makes me angry talking about this.
and as long as they control the terrorist, they can use that fear without it getting out of hand. But then, thanks to you help him escape. Or you can, I guess, betray him if you're like that. But it's a lot cooler.
If you want even less story, betray him. Like
Yeah.
every time you can make a cool turn on a thing, it's even less story.
Yeah,
So
like you break out and you have this really cool system where they all get their tribal armor. They break out into Markarth. All hell breaks loose. And yeah, technically you were with them. And sometimes people are like, hey, you were with those groups that escaped. Like it kind of jumbled.
you could wear the fucking armor they gave you and no one cares.
Yeah.
Like you could, it would literally be the same as like wearing like a Red Army shirt in Berlin in like '92. Like it's stupid.
Marching into Caesar's camp with the NCR uniform on.
Right. And no one says a goddamn word.
Like hey, like there might be a dialogue thing. Like a guard will say like, hey, but he's not going to do anything.
I lost my brother in that little scuffle. Walks away.
Yeah. Like, gods know what you've done.
Right? It's stupid. And you literally meet on that beautiful waterfall above Markarth territory. And the guy's like, you did us a solid. You know, it's literally the king just being like, you did us a solid, buddy. And he hands you armor and he walks off and inhabits a cave. And you can go talk to him for the same dialogue line for the rest of the fucking game.
And he's just wielding a sword. The Reach will be ours again. Any minute now.
And
There
the
are no
worst
quests
part-
associated with them beyond that
The
point.
worst part, you can help their king escape, and the random mobs will still attack you.
Even if you're in their uniform.
Even if you're in their armor, they'll still attack you. There's no single line of code that tells them stop.
Like there's no, like if this were New Vegas, this would be like the Boomers, where you can decide their fate. Are they worth keeping around? Can the Empire use them as an alliance? Can the Empire use
Right.
The NCR can make an alliance with the Khans. House will even tolerate an alliance with the Khans as long as they eventually get incorporated into his capitalist structure and lose their identity. Mm-hmm. Caesar wants the Khans because he can do the same. No one wants to do that with the Reach people, even though they are a legitimate faction.
Right. It's ridiculous. Like, and that's
This
the factional interaction in New Vegas should have been a course.
Yeah.
Like, I know it was an Obsidian game,
Yeah,
but
I
everyone
know-
at Bethesda should have studied that.
I don't expect them to completely mimic it, but if you have one faction, you should be able to address it.
Like when you could, like
This
one of the things
is a story about a civil war. Well, technically, the Civil War is a very brief quest line.
right.
But if you have a civil war, you should be able to address, factions within the Civil War,
Right.
of which the Reach people are a part.
And it's
I
like
think.
just touching on New Vegas again, I always thought it was super cool that you could literally make peace with the Brotherhood of Steel. You can make to where everything's cool. Go back to house, and he's like, I didn't ask you to do that.
I didn't ask you to do that, man.
I told you to have them dead.
Look,
Are
I think
they
I said
dead?
in no. I said in no uncertain terms that these people are ridiculous and have no place in the modern world.
Adam, got a Mountain Dew or something? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So hard to find good help these days.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So basically, Markarth has heaps potential, but we've just tapped.
And it's a cool fucking city. It was built by the Dwemer. It was
The
built
Dwemer.
by
It's a
dwarves.
surface level Dwemer city. It's got unique architecture. It's all kinds of cool.
And you have to work to get there. The main quest will never take you there. You all right?
Yeah, I was worried.
Oh, we're all good. We're all good.
Okay. Anyway, okay. So now playing for the first time, like, okay, that was still pretty fun. That was pretty cool.
It's you forgive it because
Yeah.
you're like, you know what? They're gonna.
You know what?
He's gonna hit me later with something really
there's
cool.
like eventually there's gonna be like payoff for all this. Maybe I just haven't triggered something. Maybe I need to go advance the Civil War
It's me.
storyline.
It's me. It's not
the game. It's me.
It's not Bethesda. It's me. I'm not doing enough.
Look.
Look what you did to me, Bethesda. Look what you did.
Look, yeah, sure, it's a little weird that the Daedra are now just like couch surfing at an abandoned house now. But we did seal the Oblivion gates. This is probably the best they could do.
Right.
So I'm willing to forgive that.
Right.
But you know what? Let's just go find something else to do. This is a huge game, huge world, very beautiful world. A lot of people running around. Let's find something else to do.
No reason not to.
So, like, you know what? I am a Breton. I'm pretty good with magic. I'm gonna go join the mages thing. Okay, it's not a mages guild. There's no guilds up here. There's a college though. I like college. College was pretty cool. Like, oh wait, this is a good start. You got freshman orientation. You get to meet all the other students. They seem to have personalities. They even have quests. Hey, I'm getting some New Vegas vibes here.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and this one dark elf chick, she turned me into a horse because she was using her experiments, and then we just agreed never to speak of it again. That was a nice little touch. And okay, now we're learning magic. Oh, this is nice. We're a student. We didn't just walk in. It's just like Morrowind, where you do stupid fetch quests for a while because mages are kind of dicks. But their teacher's kind of nice, and we're going on a field trip tomorrow. Okay, we found something cool. That's a nice hook, nice story hook. I looked forward to seeing that in a few hours. Oh, it's right there. What is this thing? Oh, that is the Eye of Magnus, a thing of uncalculable power. Okay, so we already know what it is.
Is it really called the Eye of Magnus?
Something like that, yeah.
Because the 40K thing.
Yeah. And you need to find the Staff of Magnus. Okay, you found the Staff of Magnus, and here's this exchange student from the High Elf Dominion, and he's doing evil stuff with the Eye of Magnus for some reason. We're just letting him do it because it would be rude to stop him. He's not doing anything openly racist. He's just he's coughing when he says. He's making vague inferences, but really that says more things about you if you just assume he's trying to do something nefarious with this great big ball. Also, there's a ghost who's talking to you, like, hey, you found the Eye of Magnus. This is dangerous. And, you do some more, really pointless quests, like, danger. And then you show up at the conclusion where you, surprise, surprise, the High Elf has betrayed everyone. And you defeat him, and then the Council of Ghosts from the Mage Isle says, you've done well! And then they take the ball and leave, and nothing is resolved, and you're just like, hey, congratulations, Archmage. God damn it. Boy, there better be something cool in this college. There is. There in the basement, there is a quest that's not even a quest, doesn't have quest markers. If you find all the rings, which you should if you just been exploring, you can put it on a demon hand, and you can get you can summon a demon, and it's actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
one of those, not demon, but a Daedra, a lesser Daedra,
a
Dremora, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about the cool. That's the best part of that. Not the quest, but just the things that encourage exploration and experimentation. But that's about it. Yeah, we really have to.
Just another thing where
you. Like Southern Indiana, we don't see many oceans. It's like going to the coast Weather's perfect. Water's fine. You run. You're gonna catch a wave. You're gonna swim in the ocean. You're gonna see the Atlantic. You're gonna swim in it. But you're ankle deep. Water's still great though. It's beautiful. The sun is setting. It's an azure sea. Then you look back and you're 8 miles out. You can't see the shore. You're still ankle deep. That's fucking Skyrim.
That is fucking Skyrim.
It's a mile fucking wide and an inch
An inch
deep.
deep. There's just it's literally a game of great starter quests.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's the Duel of the Fates, only it just gets ba ba da 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 ba ba da.
it's when Obi-Wan and Anakin are swinging their lightsabers and not hitting each other, and that just goes on the whole time. That's what it, because that's a cool scene.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
And you can still have fun with it by imagining there's a bee in there somewhere. A bee!
well, no, it's just a cool scene because it's like it adds this tension because you're sitting there like, who's
it's gonna happen.
But just imagine that going on the whole time.
Yeah,
That's Skyrim.
Yeah. Like, okay, there's other quests I could be doing. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here.
Exactly, and you just have that feeling the whole time. It really is a bad relationship. It
Yeah.
really is.
It's not like, look, I might have missed something. I probably should have read more books, talked to more people, done something. I'm just not engaging with the game on its terms. Let's go to the companions because, like everything else, it's unique. It's too good for the Morrowind setup with the guilds.
Like,
it's unique. It's cool. It's white as hell.
right.
like, hey, it's really exotic. I mean, you like no? How about let me tell you about a mystical race of people called Northern Europeans.
Look, everyone's got blonde hair and blue eyes. Weird, right?
Yes, in our saintly ways, we live in houses. Oh, you mean like the Fighters Guild and the Dunmer and the Khajiit and the Argonians? Like, okay, I'm being a
It's-
negative Nancy. It's fine it's fine. It's Skyrim. It sells the setting.
And like, I mean, like, a Nordic setting was a smart move.
Yeah,
Fantasy fans love Vikings.
I know. I don't have anything negative against them. It's just
And it's like it's
trying
fine,
to do more work with the setting than it should.
but it didn't have to be literally Vikings. It's like they literally just took Nordic culture and changed names.
It's why I like the Reach. It's like the Sami people of Finland.
right. It was
They're completely distinct. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't have to like the Dunmer are not homogenous. They're so diverse within their own
Ashlanders and the
distinct
great
setting.
houses, and it's
Why do the Nords have to be all Nords?
because you know what, Cyrodiil was fine.
Yeah.
You gave us vanilla fantasy. That was, you know what, you just punched
It's
us
a
in the gut.
cosmopolitan setting. It's the center of a multiracial empire. It makes sense that you could see all that cool
I
stuff.
still like you. I wish it would have stayed Aztec or Incan
Yeah,
as
that
it
would've been
was in the
great,
original
but, yeah.
lore. But I understand that retcon. I do. It sucks, but I get it. You had to push units.
Look,
I get it.
You need to ease into Thai food, especially if you're over the age of 50.
And what I mean by that, I should elaborate about that. What I mean by that is, you just punched us in the gut with arguably the most exotic fantasy setting in a video game ever.
Yeah.
With Morrowind.
Yeah.
I get why you would just be like, you know what,
Like I could do Mickey D's.
because at the time that Morrowind came out, 3.5, arguably one of the most best-selling and most popular editions of Dungeons & Dragons came out. We had all just saw the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
It just made sense to
Yeah,
make Oblivion
yeah.
the way it was. It just did. Like that was a smart move. And again, like, I don't want to be one of those guys on the internet that shits on Todd Howard. Todd Howard's a legend.
Yeah,
Todd Howard
yeah.
gave us Morrowind. He gave us Oblivion, and Skyrim is a great game. It's just it's when Michael Jordan came back as a wizard. That's what it was. It was like, God, this is so cool. I'm going to watch Michael. Oh my God.
I'm just gonna go watch Shazam.
Or anytime Ric Flair shows up on Modern Wrestling, and you're just like, oh my God. And he's just like, remember that time 30 years ago? And you're like, oh God. Like, it's just,
I don't want to remember that time in my life, man.
well, no, the problem is like, I'm fine just remembering that. I don't need to
Yeah.
see this right now. Like, that's what Skyrim's like. And it's,
Yeah, well, you see, the kids today are too politically correct to appreciate Skyrim. That's what it has to be. It can't be that there's just something wrong on our end. But I actually like the companions.
The guild?
a hot minute.
Real? Oh, okay.
The quest.
I get you.
It
The way
starts-
you meet them is cool.
Yeah.
That giant outside of Whiterun, that's cool.
And you see, like, okay, this is a unique character model, a very internet character model, very internet female character model, but, you know, she's competently voiced acted. And you know what? I like seeing a woman who is not typecast as either demure or, you know, just a scantily clad barbarian. She's obviously got some mystique about her.
There's something to this NPC. And she's the one that leads the dialogue with you, and it's you can kill the giant. You can.
Like, as long as you land a hit, she will say, you are a good hunter.
Right.
Or something like that. She doesn't have that voice accent. I don't know why. She's Antonio Banderas in my head. But it would have been cool. Oh, God.
You know what? Someone mod Antonio Banderas to be the voice of
Ayla or whatever.
Is Ayla her, or is Ayla the one in the Rift?
I don't know exactly, but
Anyway,
it's been
it's
a while.
not
I don't
important.
want to play Skyrim anymore. Okay, so you go to the companions and they let you in, and you go off on a quest. And in one of those quests, some guy tells you, "Hey, go in there and pull that lever." You pull the lever, and a gate comes down. Why did you get yourself trapped like that? And then you get ambushed by a group of people who are not called bandits. Or Draugr. This is important.
That's
I cannot stress enough
important.
how rare this
because
is.
every mob that is humanoid in Skyrim is a bandit or Draugr.
Now these are the
All
Silverhands.
of them.
And like, oh, okay, Silverhand. That's a pretty cool gang name. What are you all about? And then the guy who's been hanging out with you turns into a werewolf and kills them all. And he lets you out. And like, okay, so are we just not going to address this? I will talk about it later. No, really need to. We need to open the window and air some things out here. Like, no, okay, we're back in the companions, and you start talking with people. Like, okay, so werewolves, right? Yeah, don't. Nobody else needs to know. Like, we're okay. Exactly who is a werewolf in this group of ours? Apparently, not all of you. And why didn't you run away, kill them off screen if you wanted to keep this secret?
Right?
Like, okay,
Why didn't you handle the situation 100% differently than how you did?
like, okay, well now you must become a werewolf to continue this quest. No. Okay, this is the part of a story where something should happen. This is a huge reveal, and I must confess I have a certain. I grew up watching Salem's Lot. That was one of my first horror movies, and I watched The Howling. And those two things have something very in common. Like, you're hanging out with a bunch of people, and it turns out you're in the company of wolves, so to speak, or vampires.
Yeah, Salem's Lot was vampires. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, I really wanted The Howling to have, like, one guy who just didn't know what was going on. Like, everyone else is turning into a werewolf, and it's this big horrifying scene, and then, like, Larry from down the street is like, hey.
What the hell?
Hey. Man, we do golf on Sundays. How did this
babysit my kids?
Wait, you're not a werewolf? No. Dude, look. Every any given full moon, we're all outside howling. I didn't assume that meant you were a werewolf. I'm not racist.
Wow, I'm learning a lot about you guys.
Look, you said you don't like thugs or New York City. I just assumed you don't like thugs in New York City. I didn't think that was coded language. Anyway, this is the part of the story where you should have an option other than, okay, sign me up. There should be the part where you either join or die and have an exciting escape.
Mm-hmm. But no.
No. You just hang, like we will not force you. Then they just stare at
the
you.
dialogue
empty,
is done.
Like, yeah. And like Ayla is a werewolf and she's staring at you forlornly in a corner, and this guy is staring like, okay, you gonna drink? I don't know. I'll come back after you've reset. They don't reset. She never leaves that cave until you continue the quest. You can't go to the Silverhand. You can't like, hey, I know where the werewolves are. You can't tell anyone.
Like you can with the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, you can't go off and say like, hey, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying Daedra worship, which being a werewolf kind of is. It's happening. Am I the only one who sees this? This is not something you should just.
It's happening in the Mead Hall in Whiterun.
Yeah.
Like this isn't happening
Like,
out in the countryside.
Yeah, this isn't. I'm sorry. I just that's it's just
It's a
something-
terrible narrative.
because I was being built up to like, okay, this is a huge reveal. I really expected to have to fight my way out, escape. There being drama, like all these people you've been hanging out with for the first part. Like, okay, you betrayed us. Like, who betrayed who? You tried to make me drink blood. That is a faux pas. But you can't. Like, I also hate that you can't go to the old werewolf who does not want to be a werewolf and say, "Hey, can I help you solve this?"
right.
No, I don't trust you because you're not a werewolf.
And you can't. Right. And you can't.
Hate you, old man.
You can't cure this in.
Oh,
Skyrim
we've
either.
got enough money for illegal immigrants, but not enough to cure me of lycanthropy. You know, we don't have to choose. I don't have to become a werewolf to cure your lycanthropy, sir. I can go to the witch cave and kill the witches if you want. No, I don't trust you, you New Yorker. Goddamn companions. Hate all of you.
So, a faction that actually is handled close to well in Skyrim, the Dark Brotherhood.
Yes.
This is fun. So what happens is you find out about there's a kid that was an orphan who got his own house, and he's using his own house to basically pray to a god of vengeance that someone kills the woman at the orphanage that was mean to him. The orphanage, by the way, is on the far ass end of this province. Like, he's literally a province away from the woman, but still feels the need to sacrifice small animals to catch his attention. No, wait, is he actually killing? I can't remember.
He's killing something. I don't know. He's
I think
stabbing
it's-
something.
I think it's animals. I don't think he actually killed any person.
No, not a person. But yeah.
But anyway,
He's
you
doing
can
some
catch
stuff.
wind of this, and you could be like, you know what? I got you, buddy. And you could go kill this. And mind you, she is mean.
Very mean.
She's very mean. So, like, the old bat kind of has it coming, you know? Like,
It kind of. I was playing when I play the game. I always go for the find the unarmored and make gauntlets that actually make unarmored combat viable, to where it's just a one-hit KO. So you're constantly doing wrestling moves. So when I killed this old lady, I snuck after her into her room and suplexed her. And then all the kids ran in and started cheering.
and that one.
That was the highlight of the game for me.
Right. So, by the way, children in Skyrim are pretty brutal. They're
In the DLC where you can adopt kids and give them like knives that are absurdly powerful, they're actually kind of cool.
Anyway, so you do that and you get the notice of the Dark Brotherhood. I still like the way that Daggerfall and Oblivion did it, where just any murder, just any unwarranted murder, and they'd be like, "Hey,
You're good enough for tryouts.
I always took it more like, "Hey, we run the murder game in this region. You no scabs.
Yeah.
You join the union, or
You gotta
don't
join
work."
the guild.
But in this one, it's kind of cool that there was kind of a story build up to. Now, of course, you can't follow up with that kid.
No.
And he doesn't. I think he's still doing the ritual even after the old bitch is
Yeah.
dead.
He wants to make sure.
Anyway, you get kidnapped and you're put in a room with 3 people with a hood over their head.
Yeah.
And there's a woman that's like, someone has to die for you to leave this room. And you could sit there and talk to them, and they each have a story, and it's kind of cheesy because they each have a reason you'd want to kill them, but then a reason you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. But then enterprising players could be like, wait a minute. Someone has to die. And you could turn around and stab her. And the only part of Skyrim that I thought was beautiful writing, when you do it, she says like, well done. Or something like that. Like, she's like, you're going to be fucking great. So then you go to this guild, which is in like, it's in one of the
It's in a
frozen
cave,
parts.
yeah.
And it's up by,
It's that place with a big cemetery nearby.
right. So you go up there, of course.
Yeah.
The big cemetery. And her husband, who is also a fucking werewolf.
But he's not like. I will accept him because it at least treats it as something of a secret, and he's not forcing it on you.
Right. So he'll be like, and it's cool. Well, it's actually kind of well written because he's upset that you killed his wife.
Yeah.
But at the same, he's like, you know what? I'm mad, but god damn it,
That was.
I can respect that. Like, I'm sad that she's gone, but I'm glad that you're here.
I hate to see her leave, but I love to watch you come.
Alternatively, at this point, when you meet all these people, there's so many cool NPCs, by the way.
Yeah, the little girl vampire.
The little girl vampire, which is basically a well-written version of the little girl in Interview.
Yeah.
Whereas in Interview, it's just like, oh, if a child becomes a vampire...
She actually does mature.
Right.
With
the whereas Interview, for some reason, they just would not increase in mental capacity at all.
There's a part where she refuses to do physical labor, like, dude, look at me.
So it's interesting, but what's super interesting, you go through, meet all these people, and they're all, one thing I like is in Oblivion, it almost seemed cheesy how much like, oh, we're family and everything. This seems like a real family. They're like, hey, bud, glad to meet you. I don't
because
really
it's a little bit. They're on the rocks right now,
right? They're you know what. Time was when a man wanted someone murdered, they come to us. Here in Skyrim, they're doing it their goddamn self. I can't find work. I got a family to feed. That's literally the vibe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the cool part is you can run to a guard and tell them about it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's there. And the guard will, and it's such a cool setup that you could do that. And then the guard turns around and you're like, yes, I can't wait for this epic quest line. He's like, hey, cool, could you take care of that for me? And you're like, okay, cool, I'll go do this. And there's going to be some open in Solitude because I rid the region. And you go and do it. And you go back to the guard and he's like, hey, man, thanks. Here's 2,000 gold. You know what? You're all right by me. I'll see you later, bud.
And a title.
God fucking damn it. Why? So then, anyway, you could go through the quest line and there's so many cool ones. My personal favorite one is the Gourmet.
Yeah.
I like that one. And the coolest end of a questline in Skyrim. You kill the goddamn Emperor.
And they actually make him pretty charismatic.
Oh, they make you regret killing him.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a kill you're happy to do.
He is not a septum, but he's an emperor for a reason.
And yeah, you make it to him. And another thing that I like about him is he knows you're coming.
Yeah.
Like, and he's just like, oh, well, come to this, has it? Like...
And I also like that the big regret that he has is going with making peace and keeping peace with the Altmer. But he does it for a very good reason because the Empire is not quite ready to fight back yet. They need to bide their time.
There's so much good story right here.
He's doing an unpopular thing for a good reason.
Right.
It's one of the big tensions of the game that never quite gets resolved.
Because you can't do anything about the Altmer. They're just there. The Thalmor are just there. It's literally the same as a fucking mountain they put in the game. There's no difference between it and landscape. They're just a force of nature that you can't really interact with. And it's the most interesting aspect of the game. They're the reason for the Stormcloak Rebellion. Yeah. You find out.
Like, the Stormcloaks are like, hey, the Empire won't let us worship Talos. And the Empire, every Imperial you meet, like, dude, I don't care if you worship Talos. Just don't let them see you until we're ready to kill them. So
basically, the Altmer is kind of like, it's almost like Stormfront.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, they're saying you can't worship God. Bullshit, I worship God. and you see all these people that are just like, what? Who said you couldn't worship God? Like, I don't remember saying that.
I just
they're teaching our kids evolution in them schools. Like,
I wish to catch it Happy Holidays. What?
It's literally because I remember the big joke on Reddit. When Skyrim came out. Skyrim came out in 2011.
Yeah.
But the big joke on Reddit when it first came out was, I'm Jarl over Stormcloak, and I'm not afraid to say I worship Talos. A joke on the Rick Perry ad. I'm Governor Rick Perry, and I'm not afraid to say I worship God. No one said you couldn't, Rick.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally, like...
It's virtue signaling.
I still think that Christianity is far and fucking away the most practiced religion in the United States. Yeah. There's no danger for Christian, as Joshua Fierstein said, probably one of the most gut-churning things a conservative pundit has said. He said that we're experiencing conservative crystal knock. That is the most poor wording I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, you gotta be like, if you're reaching for a stolen valor for people who got sacrificed to lions thousands of years ago.
That's, you know what, brother? You're Dulcim. Because that's a fucking reach, bro.
That's stolen valor.
But anyway, so there's this fantastic, incredible, again, the best thing in the game is something, because you talk to the Emperor and you're like, man, there's so many cool story points, and you stab and you have this cool escape, and you just killed the mother fucking Emperor of the Empire Business as usual, bro.
Here's a bonus.
Here's a hey, you know what? Someone saw you sneak in there, though. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to pull some. I killed the emperor.
I do like Cicero.
Oh, that's another cool story in there, and the fact that you literally encounter the Night Mother. Actually, I don't have any real complaints about that.
I don't really have it either.
I don't. That's
I like that you can meet Cicero even before the Dark Brotherhood because
he's broke down outside that farm, and it's funny because everyone's like, "Look, if you just help me grab what's in the cart." No. Is there something wrong with what's in the cart? No, it's perfectly fine.
I just need a wheel.
Then I'll just touch it. No, don't touch it. Like, but yeah, and the fact that you could spare him or save him, and there's a consequence for either action. So, you know what? If Skyrim, Todd, whoever you had working on the Dark Brotherhood, just tell him you want to do another Skyrim and let him do the whole fucking thing. Give him 5 years. I don't care.
Look, if you had just given me like, if they had like as disappointing as the alternate solution to the Dark Brotherhood is, I'm glad that it's there.
Yes. Yeah, I would have wanted that for the companions.
Yeah, if you can just go to the Silver Hands and say, "Hey, I know where the werewolves are. Oh, go kill them." And I guess I'll give you like you can hang out in my cave if you want.
Well, and why bother? Why bother taking out the vanilla guilds? Why bother calling it something other than the fighter guilds if it's going to be so bland?
Yeah,
If it's going to be that bland, just make it the fighters guild.
like I don't even really know what happens with the companions guild. I knew at some point, but I just kind of stopped. Like
It's not good. It's not memorable.
It pisses
It's-
me off too
right.
much. And I know there's not a payoff at the end, so I stopped going for it.
Now the thieves guild is decent.
Yeah,
Thieves guild is decent.
yeah,
But again, there's this cool story, this political struggle with this woman in Riften that has too much power,
yeah.
and nowhere. I mean, I would have even been satisfied with a fucking Joaquin Phoenix Joker, like we live in a society fucking thing.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking different than just her deciding she's. I don't know. Like it's it's not even memorable enough for me to comment on. Like that's the problem, Don.
Like it's just another like look, you've sold your soul to the 5th straight Daedra Lord this year.
They're starting to talk at their meetings. They're like, "Wait a minute, he's mine."
Wait a minute, this is like Yahweh off promising the Holy Land to the Palestinians, the Jews, the Palestinians are actually Jews who just converted, so it's kind of it's really there's like 8 kinds of awkward. The Ottomans say it's theirs. Alexander the Great says it's his. The Romans claim it's theirs. The Sea Peoples might have been there at some point, and really, let's be honest here, it's Irish.
That's what the IRA is fighting.
But yeah, it's like okay, yeah, like I don't know, you'd think there would be some consequence for selling your soul multiple times, but no, there's not.
It's all good. It's all good.
And you can't actually like, hey, I don't know if I want to serve a Daedra Lord because I'm role playing a good Imperial citizen or whatever. You just do it.
I love paladins. I love paladins in fantasy. I always play a paladin. This is the hardest game to role play a paladin in.
Yeah.
Because not that there's not enough good moral decisions. There's not enough moral decisions either way.
Yeah.
You're morally gray no matter what you do. No
You're
matter
just
what you do.
You're just going along for the ride.
Yep. Whereas in Morrowind, and even to a lesser extent, but more so in Oblivion, these were actual narratives. These were stories. Like each faction felt like a whole game.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole game worth in each faction. In Skyrim, just
it fizzles after takeoff.
Yep, and that's the issue with Sky. And again, I might even play Skyrim tonight. It's a great game.
Now I'm always looking for a rationalization for why. Like I always try to convince myself that I should, but like all I need is something. And I always think the Civil War. There's good setup. There's like it actually has some. Like you're introduced to it in really interesting ways. Right from the very beginning, you see the Imperial guy and Stormcloak. Like they both give you their pitches, but before you go off and join either side, you also generally go to Whiterun, and then there is the one family who is pro Imperial and one who is pro Stormcloak. Mm-hmm. They were best of friends at one point. Now they're not. And there's that quest where, like, hey, I bet he knows where my son is, and you find a letter in his house. And it's basically saying, in response to your inquiry as to the well-being of this guy, your neighbor, yes, he's alive, but he's in prison, and the elves have him, so we're not going to start a war at this time for one person. So I'm sorry. It communicates a lot. It's really good. It's a good moment because you know that this rich pro-imperial side still cares about those other guys, but they're not going to kill the Empire over it.
Right.
It's a divided loyalties thing. And then you go tell them about it, and you have that cool prison break. It's one of the only times you really get to put the hurt on the elves, except for the sneaking mission and the main quest. But that's the thing. It's just not enough to carry a game. Because Dagoth Ur is the heart of everything. Martin is at the heart of everything.
Right, like Dagoth Ur. Really, Dagoth Ur is probably the best villain Bethesda's ever done. He feels mythological by the time you meet him. Like it feels like you're like there's a few bosses in games that build this mythology. And Dagoth Ur, when you're walking into the heart of Red Mountain, that really feels like a moment. It feels like you're confronting something in, like, you know, God, what a grand and intoxicating innocence. Like, there's just so much.
How could you be so naive?
There's so much good there. And even with Merhun's Dagon, even with him, like when you finally encounter him, again, Martin takes on the form of Akatosh to fight. Like there's something there. Whereas like with Alduin, just land. I'm gonna hit you with a dragon rend. You're gonna land. I'm gonna whack you. Like you're just eating the world. Why?
Wait a minute. You have friends. Who are they? Ghosts.
No.
Okay. Good job.
Like in Parthenox, I really feel like taking his dragon soul should have been like a moment, but they didn't do enough to make me feel close to him. Like I come back to Metal Gear Solid 3. The first time I ever played that game, I had to pause before I killed the boss. Like it because she's innocent.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything wrong. Everything she did was for America. Everything she did was for America. But in order to make her plan come to fruition, you have to kill her. This is a moment. Like with Dagoth Ur. This is what you told me to do. That I am loyal to you.
I'm here because you told me not to leave.
I mean, that's it, basically. But there's a huge emotion to that story. It's like, no. Like
I protected this heart. It's mine.
Right.
I have kept it safe. It belongs to me.
Right. There's this whole story there. And with like Alduin, it's just like he woke up one day and fate or whatever whispered his eye, like, eat the world. Then he's just like, I've got no reason not to. Like, you know, it's what is it? Tuesday? I never have anything going on Tuesday.
So we hate Alduin. We hate everything about Alduin. Let's at least try to find, you're playing the game. Maybe this game isn't really about Alduin. It's about Skyrim. We're going to resolve this civil war. So you go to either Ulfric or to Colonel Ty, who is just literally Colonel Ty, and I love Colonel Ty.
Right.
Captain Tullius, yes. I love everything about this guy because he is an Imperial general, a competent, gruff Imperial general who doesn't really who respects Skyrim but hates everything about it. I can really relate to that.
Looks like you're on your way to Sovngarde, General Sovngarde, right? That's a good line for Tullius. But yeah.
Sovngarde, right. Yeah. You Nords and your damn honor.
A hero doesn't use a power like the voice to usurp his king.
Like I could see Captain Tullius or General Tullius saying, I don't understand this land 100%, but I think there's some potential for there's good things here. There's things worthy of respect, even if I can't understand them. It just seems like they never quite go anywhere.
Tullius is the player. He's literally the player.
I relate to him absurdly well throughout the whole thing. Like, you Nords and your damn honor.
So, depending on who you escape with, and you don't even have to go with the side you escaped
with.
You can pick on a side. But you go to Tullius, and Tullius has a damn good reason for accepting whoever you are.
Because you're an
Imperial citizen. You go to Ulfric Stormcloak, you could be a dark elf that you literally just watched be discriminated against in the middle of his city, the heart of his rebellion, and you go to him, and he's like, why do you want to defend Skyrim, And he's like, and you could just be like, I think the option is Skyrim is my home. And he's like, that is fair enough. Why is it not fair enough for her? I don't fucking get it, man.
Tullius, I like Tullius. He's not necessarily the best person in the world, but he represents an institution that has the potential for the best good. It's a multiracial empire.
He's a soldier.
Yeah.
He's a soldier.
He has his flaws, but you can earn his respect. There's a very clear and relatively fair path to earning his respect, and that's basically just doing what you're told and doing it well. And you
Like any military man would,
Yeah.
Respect.
and you can rapidly rise the ranks. In fact, a little too rapidly.
It's a terribly disappointing story.
Like okay, finally going to start the Imperial Civil War. This is where the game's really going to kick off. There is a wagon on this road. I want it.
All right, man.
We got hey, it's you. I'm glad to see you join the right side. There's a wagon down there. We're gonna get it.
I'm gonna fix his wagon.
I suppose it could use a coat of paint.
Painted imperial
Okay,
colors, right, brother?
If there was a musical number, I'd forgive a lot of sins for this game, but there wasn't. So I'm
Fix your wagon.
yeah. Oh my god! If the Imperial scheme to steal the wagon was just like dressing up as Stormcloaks, like, hey, we're wagon repairmen. You need to go to a Windhelm and report the wagon is coming. And here, deliver this note, and the note says Tullius sends his regards. This is a better game.
Bethesda Dawn is looking for a writing job. Whatever you want
Look,
to hire.
if you're going to make the Civil War decided by shenanigans and roughhousing, at least lean into the roughhousing and shenanigans. But
So
then the other quest is like, hey, there's this abandoned fort. It's not really abandoned. They've taken it over. I want you to go over there and kill them all. And then we'll just declare that province pacified because we have
there's
it.
that one form.
So you walk into a fort and a bunch of people keep spawning and dying to you because you're just like slapping them with infinite gauntlets and then like, hey, congratulations, we have this province. Now there's a messenger who is on this road. I want you to shank him or steal his note. Okay, congratulations, we've taken this province.
This is the story for either side, by the way. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
either
This works
side's
both
story.
ways.
Exactly. So
I mean, I guess there is like that one artifact they also want,
right.
like the crown.
So anyway, it ends with you. I believe I have never done the Stormcloak side. I believe you kill Tullius at the end of the Stormcloak
Yeah,
side.
I'm not sure what happens to the queen, the rightful queen, even though she doesn't have much of a character.
The rightful king didn't have much of a character. We
Yeah.
just hear that he died, and we don't know anything about
And
him.
like, there's good background to him. Apparently, he really looked up to Ulfric Stormcloak and probably would have raised his flag in rebellion if Ulfric had asked. But that would mean that Ulfric
Maybe
is
maybe that's how bad he is at the voice. He tried to ask, but it's
my man. And he
but
exploded
my
in the
man
giblets.
happens to be the same sound as the ancient dragon word for blow up face.
Like, that was like one of the parts of the game where I was like, hey, this is actually good. If you think about it, if you look for it, this is actually good because the former High King of Zep loved Ulfric Stormcloak. And the Imperials say, yeah, he probably would have betrayed us for Ulfric if Ulfric had asked. Ulfric did not ask.
He killed.
He killed because he wants to be king.
Right. That's a good character point of Ulfric.
Yeah.
It makes it to where
It might not necessarily be true, but it's a good, compelling argument.
that he's just a bad,
Yeah.
power hungry dude. And also the fact that we're not really told that Ulfric can't see the Thalmor's influence in his faction.
Yeah.
Maybe he does.
He's just using
And he's
it.
just using it. But we don't, again, that's not something they're going to let us find out.
Yeah.
A big little piece of so we don't really know much about the True King. Another thing, I don't think we're never given a very good reason why Ulfric can use the voice, are we?
He just learned it.
You have
He
to
put in
climb-
the hours.
You were born with dragon blood in you, and you have to climb to the top
Yeah,
of
I
the
hate-
goddamn throat of the world.
I hate being special in these games.
Oh no, that's a thing. Like, because the only exception is the Nerevar.
Yeah.
Because Nerevar, that's a complete accident. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean anything, and the game is super ambiguous on whether or not it's
Like,
even
you
true.
just happen to be born at the right sign, and they basically dress you up.
Right? Like,
It's like those 90 movies. Like, we're gonna find an ugly chick. We're gonna take her glasses off, and she's gonna be prom queen.
right?
It's Nerevar.
But even the mysticism, even Azura talking to you, no one ever actually says,
Yeah, like-
you are Nerevar. Like,
But circumstances have put you in this position, basically.
right. That's a good story. And in Oblivion, you're just in that. No one's supposed to be in that cell. They never even said it wasn't a clerical error.
Yeah.
They never even said that. Like, it could have just been Jim was, got drunk
Yeah.
that night. It was like, hey, get in that cell. We're not supposed to use that cell. Emperor could suck my dick. He's going in that cell. I got to walk all the way down to the end for the other open one. But
yeah, you wind up just storming either capital, and it's in flames, and it's kind of cool.
you get a cool line from Tullius at the end of the Imperial one.
Yeah.
Where he's like, take his head, put it on a spike outside the Imperial City. And then he's like, good job, son. You saved Skyrim. And then you just walk around and literally nothing's changed.
Yeah, like there's all the defeated lords are hanging out at the banquet, and since they never cleaned out Ulfric's body, you can just drag it across their meal table. Like, hey guys, I'm your king.
Hey, my name's Ulfric Stormcloak and I sniff farts. Like, and you can't. And what's funny, you can go back and talk to fucking Rayloff, and he's just like, we'll get those Imperials yet. He's dead, Rayloff. Like, I just imagine like Rayloff's sister coming out like, I'm worried about you. It's been years since the rebellion ended. And then he says, I learned this optimism from another guy, and it cuts over to the guy in the Reach.
It's gonna be ours. The Reach would be ours again.
Just as soon as I get this sumbitch sharpened.
Now, there are some good atmospheric quests, like the one place in the marshes where there's a vampire conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
It's very good.
That's pretty good.
It tickles my Salem's Lot fantasy, even though it's just one chick.
Right.
And her thrall, but it leads, and like you go to the I love that you're like, hey, I found a vampire. What is the appropriate thing? Do I just go over there and kill them all? No, you go to the Lord, who is a cool goth older lady, and it's like, oh, vampire, oh, that bitch. Assemble the militia. And you lead a torchlight raid on vampires. That's fun. That's cool.
Very cool. That's in the Rift?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
Like the far southeast?
It's an M-named place. It's been a while.
There's you could have a cool start to what could have been a cool Wolf Queen quest.
Oh God, I forgot they resurrected the Wolf Queen, one of the biggest background characters.
This book is all the way back to Daggerfall. Like, I remember reading this book in Daggerfall.
Such a good story of imperial intrigue and civil war, and at the end of the day, she's leading an army of vampires and zombies, and she eventually loses, but ambiguously curses the Septums who succeed her and gets her final revenge. And now her ghost is back, and that should be terrifying. And it is, because they put a lot of effort into making that setup where she's incredibly powerful. Like, you seek to bind me? But like, hey, you disrupted the summoning, but she's still around. We need to do something. This is going to take some effort. You're going to have to find her skull and bless it. That's it? Yes.
That's it.
I did it. I accidentally did it earlier.
That's a Solitude quest, isn't it?
Yeah. And you can't... I like that the Queen of Solitude is right there. And yeah, she's obviously an Imperial puppet, but she could have agency. You could talk to her about, like, yeah, Tullius is making a lot of decisions, but ultimately part of being a lord is deferring to people who know more than you about certain things. And my goal is to stop Ulfric Stormcloak, and Ulfric Stormcloak is dead. So obviously my decision to defer judgment to him seems to have paid off. Also, there's that mage advisor who is just doing the standard evil advisor thing. And there's talk about vampires. Like, I swear to God, there was talk about vampires, and there's no such thing as a vampire in that. Like, there's no quest. Like, oh, you're looking for a vampire. You know, this mage never comes out at night, only comes out at night. So I went and killed her. I slit her throat in her sleep, and she's not a vampire. She doesn't have vampire flesh. Oops.
But that's the long and short of it is we could go on all day, but this is all we're going to talk about because it's all Skyrim has.
No build. All build up. No
all
payoff.
build. It's like I said, it's Skyrim is the scene where Anakin and Obi-Wan are missing with the lightsabers, and that just goes on forever. It's if Duel of the Fates started. It's like if Darth Maul popped one side of the lightsaber, and you're just sitting there staring, waiting for the other side to come out, and he just never does it.
It's like the game is at its most fun when you haven't started any quests, completed any quests because you can still lull yourself into thinking there's something at the end of this. And the only way to enjoy the game is for it to never end, which is not healthy. And that is why you left that cave all those years ago.
That's why you.
That is why you left your ex in werewolf form.
That's why your
with her
friends tell you to
friends.
delete that number off your phone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man, I lost my way, and going into this cave, I forgot how to get back to the turnpike. Maybe I can go back in there and ask for directions. You must drink her blood for directions. No. You know what? This is southern Indiana. There's a meth cook 5 feet in any general direction. I'll ask them and maybe score some drugs.
Which will entertain me for
Which
much
would
longer.
at least give me some more resolution. A permanent death, which I wouldn't find in this quest line.
But what I would suggest, get yourself a Sixer, sit down with Skyrim, buy it on Steam real cheap, and just try to enjoy the incompleteness.
Yes.
That's what I would suggest. If you want to listen
You
to
can have a lot of fun with it.
you really can. And it's a great game. It's just after Morrowind and Oblivion, it just doesn't do.
Don't put a ring on it.
Don't no. This is a one night stand.
Yeah, you marry New Vegas.
You married. So, if you want to hear podcasts about good Elder Scrolls games, search our history. You'll find Morrowind and Oblivion.
And KOTOR.
Right, the link will be.
The link will be.
There's somewhere on this screen you'll find a link to find those podcasts. Unless you're listening to this podcast, in which case it's like a list, dude. Just scroll. Like Jesus God. I can't hold your hand on everything. If you want to read about a good Elder Scrolls game, we do have a book out on Amazon.
Yeah, we did.
And Daggerfall was the bonus little thing because I at first was very hesitant to write anything, and Adam guilted me, and then I couldn't write enough, and he's like, "Fine, I'll put it at the end," because that's my entire personality.
Yeah.
But
You got personality. That's where we differ on from Skyrim. This is what separates Skyrim from life. And
so
other
the
games.
color palette in Skyrim, it's even just gray.
Okay, you see what we're doing here? We're getting back into Skyrim when we should be leaving and walking and doing literally anything else.
The link to buy the book will also appear on this video, or if you're listening to the podcast, we'll get back at you. Anyway,
I'm mad at Skyrim now. Now I need to leave.
Anyway, this is Beau,
I'm done.
and we're not gonna play Skyrim.
I can't. I'm not. I can't.
I'm not strong enough.